Putting grips. Which grip should you have when you putt? Well, that's what we're going to be looking at today. A request has come through from a gentleman called Paul. Hi Paul, I've heard your request and we're going to discuss putting grips and which is the best one to use. So don't go anywhere, I'll be with you shortly. Hey there, Tiffany Micah, the lady golf teacher here, and welcome to today's tip. So, grips, which is the best putting grip? Well, you know, they all work. That's what I'm going to tell you to begin with, is they do all work. The problem that people tend to have when they're putting is not really to do with the grip as such. It's actually what happens in the actual stroke. So when people are actually hitting the ball, they tend to get quite wristy with their putts, right? So when they putt through, you know, they tend to push at the ball, so they'll do their stroke. I'll move back a bit so you can actually see me, but when they do the stroke, they'll come through and then they'll flick at it. That's usually a big problem with the putts. But what I'm going to show you some significant things that you should be looking for in your putting grip, and as long as you're applying those, everything will work really well. Okay, so if you're a right-handed putter, you want to make sure that your right hand, whatever you do when you're putting with the ball, is you always want to make sure that your right hand is actually going in the direction where you want the ball to go. Now that's a big thing that I see with people that struggle in their putts, is when they actually putt, their hand tends to turn. Now if you think of the hand turning, what do you think would happen to the putter? I'll move back so you can actually see this, but when you putt through the ball, and I'll just use my right hand, when you putt through, your hand turns, right? So you can see that the putter face turns as well. So we don't want that to happen, because when you putt, you want to make sure that the putter is going from here to there, so everything's going nice and straight through it, and then the ball rolls off the putter face. You want to make sure that that's actually happening. So with the grip, you want to make sure, most important, the right hand, we're going to grip it so our thumb is pointing straight down, but the palm of the hand, right, so your palm of the hand should be facing in the direction where you want the ball to go, and so should the putter face. So I'll move back so you can see it a bit more clearly. So when I've taken the bow, you can see that the palm of my hand's facing, we'll say facing you. I want my ball to go in that direction, therefore my putter face is also facing in that direction, so when I strike the ball, it's going to go straight towards you. So I'll just grab a ball here. So if I set up, and I'll just go right hand only, if I do the stroke and go through, you'll see that my putter face is going nice and straight, and so is my hand. So we want to make sure that that's actually happening when you're doing the stroke. What to do with your left hand? Now there are lots of different putting grips out there, so I get quite particular with grips. If you don't have the same grip as me, do not freak out, it's okay, but you want to make sure that your dominant hand, which is your right hand, I mean if you're a lefty, you want to do the opposite, okay? So you want to make sure that your left hand, the palm of your left hand, is facing in the direction to where you want the ball to go, so that when you putt, so is the putter face. But with your left hand as a right-handed putter, you would have learnt lots of different grips. I've experimented with lots of different grips, especially when I first started playing golf, to find the one that worked for me, and I'm going to share that one with you. Whether you use it or not is up to you, but for me I found it very secure for my left wrist, because the thing that I see with people, like I discussed earlier in this video, was that people tend to get very wristy when they putt. So we want to eliminate as much wrist in a putt as possible. Some pros do teach you how to putt with your wrists. Personally, I don't agree with that, because I find that's too much margin for error. So I like to keep the wrists out of it. But for this exercise, I'm going to show you what to do so that we just keep our the putter nice and secure, so we're not so wristy. Okay, so let's get the grip right. I want you to think of your hand a bit like a gun, okay? And we're not going to shoot anyone, but I want you to think of that too, because it's a good visual for you. Now with your left hand, what you actually want to do is you want to put your finger down the side, and then you put your thumb down the center. Okay, so it goes straight down the center of the putter. Now what happens is then you got your 3 fingers underneath, but again, the palm is facing backwards, right? Because the putter face is facing that way, so therefore the palm's facing that way, because in a putting stroke you want your palms to face each other when you putt. So it's always palm to palm, back and through, okay? So if we go this way, then what I actually do is I link. So I stick my middle finger out and I link between the pinky and the 3rd finger, and I link in and I hide my thumb in the lifeline of my hand, and I actually let my thumb then sit down the shaft, and that's my putting grip. Now that's the grip that I personally use. I love it. It took me a long time to find this grip when I first started. It took me a few years to get my putting right, but I find that it keeps my wrist more secure. So when you're doing your putt, you'll find that it actually secures this area here. So you go back and through, and then you can really work on that area. I'm not saying that it's going to create miracles for you instantly. You do need to work on it. It does require practice. Golf requires practice, but you want to make sure that you want to be able to do that. Now if you don't have the same grip as me, don't stress about it, because it's okay as long as you've got your right hand doing the right thing and it's staying nice and secure through the shot. So if you've got a different type of grip, I know there's, you know, the standard grip that you get taught is this type of thing where you stick your finger over the top of the fingers and thumbs down. I find that a little bit insecure, a little bit wristy, but if you've got that grip, that's fine. If you're doing a reverse hand or something like that, that's fine too. It's not a problem. You can use that grip, but you just want to really make sure that your dominant hand, so if you're right-handed, that the palm of the hand is always facing in the direction where you want it to go, because we want the ball to go where we aim it, correct? So you want to make sure that's that. If you're a lefty, you want to make sure then that's facing that way, okay? So like I say, it doesn't matter what kind of grip that you actually have, it's actually having some fundamentals in place and making sure that your dominant hand is doing exactly the right thing, because you always want to think that your right hand and your putter work as a unit. Therefore, whatever your right hand does, your putter's going to do the same. So we want to make sure that we're going back and through, palm facing to where we want it to go. So if I'm to do a stroke towards you, you watch how my right hand finishes through the stroke. So I go a tick-tock, go through and hold. If I take my left hand off, you'll notice that the palm of my hand is facing to where I want the ball to go. And that's the plan. That's what we want. So I hope you got a lot of value out of today's tip, and go out there and practice that putting grip that I do. If you don't, that's fine, that's not a problem, but like I said, just make sure you've got those hands, especially that dominant hand, in that secure position so that your putter face is coming through nice and straight. I'd love it if you'd leave a comment down below. Tell me what value you got out of today's tip. Have an absolutely awesome day, and remember, tee it high, let it fly. See you soon. Bye bye.